so hot in here with all this Android. For whatever reason, the corner of my room it's hot in this corner today, and it didn't even get like crazy hot outside. So I don't know why that is. Crazy hot. How y'all doing? Hello,
Pretty
everybody.
good.
Busy.
Busy. Oh yeah.
Busy. I
So much
feel
to
that.
unpack after unpacked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I just couldn't help myself.
You couldn't help it. You had nothing better than to no. Okay, I was trying to get a nothing thing in there too. Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure on the show. No Ron, and then Flo will be making an appearance in a little bit. So we will have
How do I sound, you guys?
so
Because
forth.
You sound good to me.
do I
Sounds
sound
good to
good?
me.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Do you mean like volume level or just
Volume.
Volume wise, you sound good to me, Win.
Hot.
Okay.
The chat is
Being
saying
told
that
that
Jason
I'm
sounds a little low.
Yeah, yep. Could be I had to use this audio interface for something entirely different
And
earlier
I'm
today.
apparently loud.
There we go. Okay, that's better. I can see the levels bouncing. All right, Mishaal, tell me the thing about today's rundown that makes you most excited.
Spoilers.
Uh, Probably talking about Unpacked because there's just so much that Samsung improved on. Finally decided to be back on a foldable again after using a
Yeah.
slab phone for the past few months.
And then what about you?
Oh gosh, probably samesies to be boring about it. Wait, I'm excited for something in after hours. So like
Oh.
especially excited for after hours. So we don't just keep all the exciting stuff for the show, you guys. We have some cool stuff in after hours. So I can't
Cool.
talk about that now unless you're a patron. I can somehow signal to you what I'm interested in. Like we
And
said
I think we
before.
have made it. We are getting the thumbs up from everyone. See, this is what happens, StreamYard, when you finally put those readouts inside of the software. It makes things so much easier. No more guessing. Well, there's still a little bit of guessing. Like it's not perfect, but it's way better. So there's that. Ron normally makes the email thing. Did he make that? I never.
He linked it. It's in the doc.
Oh,
Says
is it?
link to slides.
Oh, see, he
Although I
did.
can't access it. I don't know if it's. I mean, I'm signed into the AF email. You might have to
Yeah.
request access.
La Mache. Oh, I see. Okay, so 103. Okay, so let me see if that will actually let me.
Maybe he already shared it with you, Jason.
Yeah, he did. I have it. It's 103 add file from slides. Let's see here.
And I shared a screenshot in the doc for the patron pick screenshot. If you didn't already get that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you know what I've been doing? I've been pulling it in live lately just for whatever reason because it saves me screenshot work. But thank you for that. I'll just run that. It is nice to have that. But lately I've just been like, I'll just pull the screenshot from the site. Looks like I have the emails. Okay, we are good. I did have we do have a video that we're going to have as B-roll. Let me make sure I have that all ready to go. And then apologies in advance, although maybe not apologies. If you haven't noticed any air noise from my mic until now, then it's not a big deal. But now that I told you about it, you might notice it. But if you haven't, then it wasn't a big deal to begin with. But I have a different laptop up here because I'm trying to. Last week I had another one of those weeks where the audio was all glitchy, and it's not bandwidth. So it's definitely not bandwidth because it was on my local recording as well as the cloud. So I think it was the machine. I think the problem is that machine that I've been using, I use it for a lot of things, and I'd have better, I'm guessing, better whatever. It would be better if I just had a machine that was dedicated to this. And so that's what I'm trying today. It's a little older. It's got a fan. So hopefully you don't hear the fan. So yeah.
Well, I don't hear anything. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Yay. Then yay. All right. Well, everybody has their things. You've got your fancy shirt from Unpacked, Mishaal.
Although, yeah, as I mentioned before the show, my lower third is kind of blocking it right now.
Let's see. If I go like that, you can kind of see it better.
Yeah.
Kind of
It's a
squishes it
big
out.
Gemini logo on the shirt. And
Did everybody get the same pattern?
no, we all made our own custom designs.
Oh, so you made that.
Well, okay, I don't take credit for this. This is too good for me because we all like we're noobs, beginners at spray
Yeah.
painting. So like I attempted to draw the Gemini logo diamond shape.
Uh-huh.
These 4 colors you can see underneath here, that was me. And then the instructor who I just asked for help, he like covered it up with the black, added these like little logos, and then he wrote his text down here, in like his cursive font or whatever, saying Gemini.
Dang,
It's
that's
pretty
a
cool.
shirt. That's a shirt that demands attention.
Oh yeah.
Oops, not that one. There we go. Roll call. Okay, cool. Well, should we do a show then? Because
Yeah,
we're
we
all
can do it.
assembled.
We could do a
And then
show.
I think during the patron pick, we will put out the bat signal to Flo. And Flo's going to join us for hardware through the end of the show. So she can join for that portion. She can't join for before, and she can't join for after hours. But we'll be happy to have her for the portion that we do.
Yes.
So then, without further ado, I'm happy to do all the intro-y and outro-y stuff. So I'm going to make sure I have all these things in place. Okay. Let's side stage you, Sir Mishaal, and Huyen as well. And hello, everybody, once more. Let's see here. Delete that. Don't need that there. Okay. Loop off. All right, everybody stand by. Here we go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Android Faithful, your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, apps, and feedback. We don't put that in the intro. Maybe we should. For the world of Android, I'm one of your hosts, Jason Howell.
I'm another host for tonight, Mishaal Rahman.
And I'm your friendly neighborhood Android developer host, Huyen Dow.
Won't you be my neighbor?
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, by the way, this is such a non sequitur, but my daughter, close to the end of last month's or the end of school, essentially. You know how the last like week of school, they always make it kind of easy or whatever, and they might like watch things or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were driving around, and she was like, "Yeah, we were just watching a documentary." I was like, "Oh, what was it about?" And she's like, "Oh, it was about this guy who like did a show, I guess, and, for kids, and it was really kind of boring." And like I was like, "Well, that's vague." But eventually I figured out it was the Mr. Rogers documentary, and I felt a little sad inside. I was like, "Oh, you remember Daniel Tiger?" She's like, "Oh yeah, that's right. It had something to do with Daniel Tiger." She was very not impressed. Anyways, I say that because I'm pretty certain that Mr. Rogers rocked an Android device while he was still with us. So that's how I make it pertinent.
Excellent.
And applicable. Hey, it's good to see you both.
Good
Hi.
to see you. Hi, guys.
Yeah, great to be back.
Yeah, you were traveling. You're a traveling machine, Mishaal. Mishaal the
Well,
machine.
I mean, I was there. Ron was there, and Flo was there as well. It just happened to be that my schedule didn't line up with didn't allow me to make it on last week's show, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's all right. You were partying. We get it. We get it. You were off somewhere getting a spray
Losing
painted
it up
shirt
with influencers.
Spray painted shirt swag at the Samsung event
With the
which you had a
Gemini
part in.
T-shirt. That
Yeah.
I am not egotistical enough to take credit for this wonderful design. I had a lot of help coming up, spray painting this Gemini logo and the text onto this T-shirt.
I don't know. I think you can take credit. I think that was kind of part of the fun of it. Is that here you made a shirt and it looks pretty cool. It's got a Gemini logo on it. Well, it's great to have you here. It's great to see you again. Ron is out. He had spent the last couple of days at Legoland with his kids, and so I think he's on his way home and / exhausted after 2 days of Legoland. One can imagine. And then Flo, as you said, Mishaal, Flo was at the event as well. Flo's actually going to join us for hardware through to the end of the show. So Flo's not here now, but Flo will be here in a little bit to join us. But before we get there, we got news. And before we get there, just want to say that we have our giveaway that we kind of announced. We have some giveaways that we're doing. The giveaways are for patrons. Is that right? I'm now realizing I entered into this promo segment without any real knowledge about what the information is. Patreon.com/AndroidFaithful. If you haven't heard us say it a million times, if you are a patron, that qualifies you to win some of our swag that we've collected over the past handful of weeks from different events and stuff. And I wish I had brought it upstairs with me. You're just going to have to take my word for it. I went to Google I/O this year, as most of us did, and I was given a canvas bag with a Google hat, a Google I/O hat, a water bottle. Is there like a sticker or something there? I can't even remember at this point.
They all blend together.
They do. We've got a lot of swag over the years. Anyways, I did not even open it. I was like, you know what? I do not need another shirt. I do not need another canvas bag. I'm going to go ahead and put this in this part of the room. And then when this whole giveaway thing came up, it was like, well, I've got the whole Magilla or whatever they call it. I've got the entire swag bag give out from Google I/O that's going to Bob Coburn. Bob Coburn, you are an amazing patron. Thank you so much for being so supportive of us. We are going to get this wonderful Google I/O swag bag out to you. So thank you. Congrats. It's all yours. And that is that. With that,
Jason, will we have more swag giveaways in the future?
You know, that's a really good question. Will we, Mishaal? I can't remember.
I mean, honestly, I have a lot of swag just randomly strewn about. Like I gotta scrounge together, see what I can put together. Maybe we'll have more in the future. And I'm sure as we go to more events, as we're more consciously aware of the opportunity for giveaways, maybe we can like say, hey, instead of like taking this
that's a great
bag,
idea.
we can keep it and give it for patrons.
All right, cool. Do we have someone here taking notes? Do we need an AI to take notes of this staff meeting?
Gemini.
That's right. It's a great idea. We should definitely do that. And I'm sure there will be events coming up. So let's keep that in mind. With that being said, why don't we talk about some news? And I think this first story, I don't know, it might sound a little familiar. Back in November 2024, a guy by the name of Mishaal Rahman reported on Android Authority of his knowledge that there could be some sort of convergence between Android and ChromeOS. And guess what? They are on a pathway to unity. It has been confirmed. So you were there first, Mishaal. Good work.
Thanks.
Signaled the arrival.
It's just like there was a lot of people who were skeptical of the news because, as you mentioned, you've heard this. You've heard these stories before.
We've been talking about this for a while. Yeah, totally. This has been percolating for a little while. And why is this news now? Well, because friend of the show, Sameer Samat from the Android team, leader of the Android team, chatted with Tech Radar's Lance Ulanoff. Samat said, quote, "We're going to be combining Chrome OS and Android into a single platform." Full stop. Said that. Which seems pretty darn definitive to me. So if you needed any sort of like clarification or, put a period at the end of that sentence, there you go, straight from Samat's mouth. However, today, Samat must have noticed that everybody was writing about this. And I don't know, earlier today on the Daily Tech News show, Tom Merritt and I were kind of talking about this and kind of wondering like what motivated Sameer behind the scenes to follow up on this. Like if their media training team was like, okay, whoa, wait a minute, Sameer, maybe this could be phrased differently. Cause today on Twitter, he replied to say, "Hey, great to see so much interest in this topic. To reiterate what we announced in our 2024 blog post, we're building the Chrome OS experience on top of Android underlying technology to unlock new levels of performance, iterate faster, and make your laptop and phone work better together." So, okay. So then in your estimations, both of you, is this Sameer walking it back? Because his comment yesterday seemed pretty definitive, like seemed to imply that, oh my goodness, Chrome OS and Android combining. But then this is like, no, we're just like mixing them together in a way that makes them work really well together. And I don't know what I'm looking at here. What are your thoughts?
To me, it sounds like maybe he overspoke. He said too much during the interview, and also
Mm-hmm.
like that line in the interview, like as you notice if you're reading the Tech Radar post, it was kind of like a little snippet in the middle of the interview, or like towards the top. It wasn't even part of the headline, and like people didn't really notice. But then when it really blew up, it blew up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of
Mm-hmm.
felt like this is like a reaction to like, okay, maybe he said more than he should have, or maybe
Yeah.
it is not true. Maybe it is the story is not as impactful as it seems. But I mean, to be fair, I mean this is something that he said pretty much unprompted. Like the first thing he said when he walked into that interview with the Tech Radar
Totally.
journalist, he noticed him having a MacBook, an iPhone, and like an Apple Watch, and he's like, "Hey, why are you using Apple products?" And then he followed up with saying, he wanted to learn more about why he's using those products and what they can do to, um, make Android better. And then he
It
followed
kind of
up with
seemed to
that
me like he
statement.
was queued up to deliver that news right from the get go. It was like looking for the way in to deliver it.
The
But
segue into it, yeah.
yeah, interesting. What do you think, Win, about the potential convergence of Android and Chrome OS becoming one and dancing into the the sunlight together?
I think it makes a lot of sense from a developer perspective. They have kind of been quietly insisting that, obviously they've been insisting on large screen device support for a long, long, long time. And they kind of like, in with that, they include things like, oh, you should be supporting styluses and keyboards and things like that. So I don't know if this was particularly what any of us had in mind, or even working at big companies. I feel like nothing's set in stone until they actually do a proper presser on it or something. And anything can
Mm.
always change at any time. But it feels like they've definitely been moving us towards this direction as like as an ecosystem, as like an ecosystem of third party developers. And I guess it would make sense. I think it's interesting just because, we actually have a lot of form factors on Android already that are kind of like, yeah, they're part of the family, but most of us don't see them all the time. Android Automotive, all your little
Mm.
offshoots of AOSP, they all get invited to the family reunion, though you may not have as much to talk to about them as your usual family. But I mean, I think it makes total sense, and I do think that there are like opportunities there that a lot of people or a lot of companies, a lot of publishers would love to take, like especially with productivity and stuff. It's just like a big avenue for usage. So I'm into it. I feel like they are moving that way, and I don't know, big corporation marketing and saying words of things to people outside is always weird. So I suspect they're moving towards it. But it's also, what does that mean for? I mean, I suppose my first thought is like, is that going to change anything about Android, about how it's developed, how it's released? I don't know, and it's too early to tell. But I think it's a good thing. I'm always for, I don't know. In this case, it makes sense. They have a successful e- OS. They have a lot of features, a whole ecosystem of like developers and hardware that is connected to it. Makes a lot of sense just to put all your, well, no, the saying is not to put all your eggs in one basket, but I think in this case it's okay, or it makes sense
Well,
to put
yeah.
more
I mean,
eggs
from
in.
from the perspective of, you've got the other example is Apple. Does Apple put all their eggs in one basket? I mean, when you're talking about like a whole holistic ecosystem and kind of where they're headed, where they continue to head, I suppose you could see it that way. And I think that there is a part of Google that wants that, even if that wasn't the goal in the beginning, you know?
I think the
Holistic's a really good
difference
word, yeah.
the difference though is that unlike Apple, Google actually has an incentive, or actually they don't have a reason not to bring Android to phones, tablets, and PCs. Versus Apple,
Mm.
they have a strong incentive to not converge tablets and PCs too heavily because
Oh
they don't want
yeah.
to
Yeah.
cannibalize one segment, by making them too alike. But Google, they produce the operating system and they do produce devices right now, but they're not in the PC segment yet. Like they have Chrome
Mm-hmm.
OS, right? But they don't really make their own Chrome OS hardware like they used to anymore. They mostly just license, they mostly create and distribute the operating system. So they're kind of trying to position themselves right now. They're the Windows of smartphones. They want to
Mm-hmm.
be the Windows of PCs next, right? So I think that they have a strong incentive. They have a strong ability to push into this segment from the smartphone side. I'm kind of curious how Microsoft is going to respond, because for a long time, they tried to compete with Apple and Google in mobile. They failed. They gave up, and now they're kind of like trying to synergistically with as many OEMs as they can to make Windows work better with Android mobile devices. But now you have Google trying to approach them from the smartphone side. And I'm kind of curious to see what is Microsoft going to be doing, like if anything, to try to combat this. Are they going to try to re-enter smartphones? I mean, it's probably way too late for them to be successful at that. But then you could also argue, is it too late for Google to do that? They're trying to come in from the other side. Can they
Mm,
succeed when on the opposite end, Microsoft failed at breaking into the mobile market?
I like that point that you
yeah.
made, though, that in regards to, we'll call them large screens as a class, whether that's like tablets or, notebooks. Android doesn't have the same success as Apple has with iPad, and this is very reductive. But in a sense, they don't have anything to lose, right? They're not a big player in the large screen space, so, and they've been trying to be. So this might just be, hey, let's go take a shot and just cover like this whole segment of things, and like the same experiences that live on a tablet can be in many ways translated to notebooks. So that makes a lot of sense, and I like that point a lot. Like, yeah, like why not? Like, right? Like, why not? They're not being threatened in the mobile space. So yeah, expand from that side.
Yeah, and
Indeed.
one other thing that I wanted to talk about is like there was kind of like a lot of confusion. I guess there wasn't much clarity on what exactly this convergence is like, what it's going to be like in Chrome OS
Mm-hmm.
and Android. But from my understanding, what's happening is it's clear that Google is putting all their eggs behind Android. They're building Android up rather than actually maybe converting Chrome OS, or rather than adding Chrome OS on top of Android. They are basically turning Android, at least the desktop kind of windowing features, they're turning it into like a Chrome OS like operating system when you are using it on like a large screen. So you have the desktop windowing feature in the first quarterly release of Android 16. You have the Linux terminal feature that allows you to run Linux apps and games in the future. You have Google's working on a new version of Chrome for Android with desktop extension support. You have all these other features that make Android work better, not just with like you hooking your phone up to a external monitor, but also potentially working towards you running Android on an actual laptop. And I think like this kind of like this statement that Sameer put out, the thing that he said in the interview, I just think Google is at a stage right now where they're not really ready to announce what their end goal is. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you look at everything they're doing holistically, I think it's pretty clear that they're working towards Android PCs, but they're just not
Mm-hmm.
ready to say that yet.
Right. But he may have slipped a little bit, and we won't know until we know. You know? All right. What else we got?
All right. So another bit of kind of big news was towards the end of last week, Google announced the release of a new Android Canary release program. So this is basically replacing the Android developer preview releases that we've had for many, many years now. So for those of you who don't know, like pretty much every time Google is preparing to release a new major Android version, it goes through several developer previews and then beta releases. You have typically 2 developer previews followed by a couple of betas and then the release. Um, the problem with the current developer preview approach is that if you want to install a developer preview, you have to install it manually because it's only intended for developers. But the problem is that there's only 2 developer previews. You install developer preview 1, then you get an over-the-air update to developer preview 2, then you get an update over the air to the betas, and then you stick with the betas. Like typically developers want to install the developer previews and then the betas because the betas also include new developer features as well. But the problem is once you are on that track, um, you have to again start this process over again. You have to manually install the developer preview for the next Android release and then restart this process. And Google typically only supports mainly installing these developer previews and typically requires unlocking your bootloader if you want to install it. And then you have to wipe your device in order to do that. Um, this new program will allow developers to opt in one of their Pixel devices into this continuous release program. It's not really continuous release, but basically every month you'll get a new update pushed to your device, And this update is kind of independent of any particular Android major release cycle. So you'll get a Canary release, and it's labeled Canary. It'll include all the latest features and APIs that Google is currently testing, and then you'll receive an update a month later with any changes that has introduced in the months since then. Although, as usual, the builds that you're getting are lagging a bit behind whatever Google's working on internally, but this still gives you much closer access to what Google's working on behind the scenes without having to flash, then reflash, then re-enroll your device into a beta program, unenroll, and then worry about all that jazz. You just have one Pixel device, enroll it in the Canary program, receive continuous updates, test as needed, and that's it. It makes it much simpler to deal with as a developer. And of course, Google being Google, whenever they release new beta Canary developer previews, they always include new features that are present in the build, but they don't really talk about. So as I think I'll wait for Jason to get back so we can show the things on screen. But one other thing that I wanted to mention about this Canary program is like what actually separates them from the developer preview builds and the beta preview builds that we've had before. So we've had this Google has separate release kind of configurations for Android builds. You have I know this is going to sound silly. You have the release configuration, which is basically you have these are all the features and the APIs and all the stuff that are intended to be released to users in the stable release. And then you have the development release configuration, which are all the features and APIs that Google is testing internally. These Canary builds follow that development release configuration. So when you install a Canary build, you are basically getting all the features that Google is currently testing internally. And it looks like Jason is back, or he's controlling the screen, so I can talk about some of the features. So some of the features that are present in the Android Canary release that aren't present in the new quarterly betas. Um, the first one is called Enhanced HDR Brightness, and this feature allows you to control how bright your screen gets whenever HDR content is on screen. You can either turn off HDR content from brightening your screen entirely, or you can control exactly how bright it makes it. So basically, if you're like scrolling through Instagram at night and you hate how your phone gets super bright whenever an HDR photo shows up, you can go to settings and then display settings and then toggle this feature or change the slider to adjust exactly how bright your screen gets whenever HDR content is showing. And previously, this is something that apps had to do on an app basis. Like they had to implement their own HDR brightness controls, but now you have a system-wide toggle that can do that. The next feature is improvements to screensavers. So Google's introduced some changes that are related to screensavers that I personally believe are intended to prepare for Android phones with G2 magnetic charging. And the first thing that Google's introduced is they've introduced a new feature that allows you to trigger your screensaver when your device is upright and charging. And by that, it means like when your device is held upright between a 90 and 120-degree angle, then as long as it's held up in that position and it's also charging, then it will start screensaver mode. And then you also have an additional toggle that allows you to restrict that to wireless charging. So if you enable the while upright and charging and restrict the wireless charging options, then that means your phone will only show a screensaver when your phone is upright or angled and it's wirelessly charging. Kind of sounds suspiciously like you're magnetically docking it onto a wireless charger, right? The other thing that Google has introduced is a new low light mode option in screensaver options. So right now, if you wanted to say have your phone turn into a clock at night, then you have to select the clock screensaver. But if you wanted to have it do something else throughout the day, then you have to go into screensaver settings and select something else. So it's kind of annoying to have to switch between the two whenever you want, your phone to be a clock at night and then your phone to maybe show your home controls during the day. Well, this low light clock option allows you to have the option to automatically have your phone show a clock whenever there's low ambient light, and then you can set your screensaver to something else throughout the day. And
Okay.
I personally think, that's exactly how the Pixel tablet behaves right now. But I personally think this is like intended to say you want your phone to dock at night and have it show a clock, but throughout the day, you can have it show your home controls, for example.
Nice.
Just a couple of more quick things. Another new feature introduced in the Canary build is a new 90-10 split screen configuration. So right now, when you split your screen, you get a 50-50 ratio where one app takes up half the screen, the other app takes up the other half. And then you can resize your screen so that one app takes up 70%, the other app takes up 30%. So Android is introducing this new 90-10 configuration where one app takes up 90% of the screen, the other app takes up 10% of the screen. And that might sound like it's pretty useless because 10% is not nearly enough to actually be usable. But the thing about this new mode is that it borrows the switching feature from the OnePlus and the Oppo Open Canvas mode, where all you have to do is tap anywhere in that little sliver, that 10%, and it'll immediately swap the two apps. So you have the app that took up 90%, take up 10%, and then they swap, but just by tapping anywhere on the screen. And this is really handy because it basically allows you to have one app almost take up the entire screen. You can focus on that and do whatever you need, but you also have another app always open, persistent. And then when you just swap to it to see something, you just tap on it and it switches between the two.
You just tap one time and it automatically swaps between them. Oh, okay, so it's kind of like the multitasking, when you double tap on the multitasking button and it flips between the two, except you've got kind of like an on-screen ever-present kind of reminder of what that other thing is, essentially.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the next multitasking feature that Google's asking is a new bubble bar. So for tablets, right now, when you open a chat bubble for apps that support it, this bubble kind of just sticks to the by default, it's on the top or like the middle left or right half of the screen. But this new bubble bar will ensure that bubbles are always anchored to the bottom right corner of your tablet, which is much easier to reach with your thumb, for example, your right thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And this ensures that you can more easily switch between and access any chat bubbles that you have open.
Okay. Sweet.
All right. And the last change I want to talk about is when you have lock screen widgets on tablets, the background is now showing your wallpaper but blurred. So, with Material 3 Expressive, you have your wallpaper, your background blur applied throughout your status bar, the lock screen. And now in this Canary release, you have your blurred wallpaper being shown behind your lock screen widgets. And I just think that's a nice little change that kind of makes it more personalized and more in line with the other Material 3 Expressive components.
And blurring background is apparently a modern thing right now. Apple's doing it also. It's like, ooh. Yeah. And so, of course.
Can you believe that's not even the end of all the stuff that's in the Canary build?
I'm sure there's more.
Just can't spend more time talking about it because we definitely gotta move on.
Yeah. So
but if you want to find out more, definitely check out our coverage on Android Authority because I have even more coming on the Canary build.
Mishaal, this is what you live for, Mishaal. Moments like the Canary build come along and you're like, all right, I can get 20 articles out of this sucker. So then do you see this as, I mean, it is what it is. We've seen this sort of strategy, this sort of, way of testing new releases on different OSs and stuff. Mm-hmm. You got to be really, you got to be really adventurous to want to dive into something like this. But there was a time when the betas kind of carried with them a little bit of that kind of dangerous quality too. You had to jump through hoops to get it on your phone. And the reason for that is because it's not necessarily meant for mainstream. That's why it's a beta. And here, that's why it's a Canary, which is basically one step behind a beta, right? It's kind of even further into that experimental realm.
I guess I just kind of wish that Google and other companies would actually start telling users more about the features they're introducing in particular releases. Like that would make me have less. That would give me less work to do, which would be kind of bad for me.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, why aren't they doing it? Like, why do I have to be the one to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Because maybe the wide swath of people don't need to know about it yet. Because it's entirely possible that something's in a Canary build and doesn't make it to the beta or doesn't make it to final release, right? So
that's true.
You might actually end up seeing a feature here and there that that lives and then dies in the Canary build. Potentially. That's always the case, I guess. But interesting. Cool. Didn't have that before. All right.
All
Win.
right.
Over to
Well,
you.
it is that time in the show where we're going to talk about our patron pick for the day. So, in case you were unaware, we let our lovely, lovely patrons vote every Monday, starting every Monday morning, on 3 stories. Some of them are patron submissions and some of them are us submissions. And our patrons vote on these 3 stories to determine what we talk about right now during the patron pick of the main show. However, the 2 less winning options now have a home in after hours. So if you're interested in those stories that we don't talk about today, that we're going to tease a little bit, maybe you should become a patron and then you can hear us talk more about these other interesting stories that we have. And of course, to accompany our patron pick is always a very lovely
I'm working
generated
on it.
image, hero image submitted by one of our listeners. It doesn't have to be a patron, it could be anyone. And for
There we go.
this
Phew.
one, there we go. This one we
I had to
have
jump through hoops, fiery hoops to get there.
We have a really sporty one. I think they've been really sporty lately. And
Aw.
Kev Nowers. I'm so sorry, Kev, if I'm pronouncing your last name incorrectly. But Kev Nowers sends us an image of a bug droid, who's just a super fit droid. Got some really good gams, if I might say, if that's
I
not
mean,
inappropriate.
those are legs.
Those
Like
are
that's
legs. Actually, this reminds me of the thing we keep talking about was it the Sesame or the Muppets and was it Ron who's saying that the Muppets when they're riding the bikes in the Muppet movie just look a little bit odd?
spindly legs.
Spindly
Yeah.
legs? No, well this bug droid does not have spindly legs. This bug droid
It's
cycles, and this
tough.
bug droid is doing some bike training in Utah and has their phone mounted on their bike listening to Android Faithful while they cycle, which is great. Although I feel like the phone's a little bit backwards. I would
Yeah.
prefer to face it forward,
It
but
is mounted for the rest of us, not for
it is
the
mounted for the
bug
rest of us.
droid.
But it is still a very fit bug droid on a cycle in cycle shorts, chilling out, listen to us talk about it.
Yeah, it's not like this is a buff bug droid.
No, it's
This
a
isn't a
bug droid
buff
that's
droid.
it's a
But
cardio
it is a
droid.
fit. Yeah, it's a
It's a
cardio
cardio
droid.
droid,
Yeah,
for sure.
totally.
For sure, for sure.
Totally.
Well, what is Bug Droid listening to? Well, we don't know whether this boy droid is a patron or not. Because if they were, they would be able to listen to us in After Hours talk about why Motorola is giving the Razr a crystal-studded special edition and giving you a first look at it. I actually am really interested in that. But
Man,
I'll
that
be at
sounds like
After
a hot
Hours. Will
phone.
you? I know, really. The second, and that had 12% of the vote, by the way. 27% second story that we will talk about during After Hours, but unfortunately not right now, is this fun video imagines what Google Maps would have looked like on an iconic older Nokia phone. Actually, that is a really fun story. So if you are in After Hours, you'll have a big treat. However, what we will be talking about today is a Nokia related story. Unfortunately, it's not a happy one. It's not a nostalgic one. It's unfortunately about HMD rather, scaling back in the US and perhaps spelling doom for the Nokia brand all over again. So, I don't know how many of us are, I mean, probably some of us are old enough to remember the Nokias. I definitely loved my old Nokia brick phone back in the day and lived by it. And of course, we all carry that nostalgia for it. And Nokia, unfortunately, hasn't been a big player in the modern smartphone era, but we had some hope when Microsoft had bought Nokia's phone business, but then they didn't really do too much with it. So there was a company, a Finnish company, Finnish company, yes, named HMD that formed that did buy the Nokia brand, like the Nokia phone business from Microsoft. And it was licensed, and it licensed the Nokia name. Nokia still continues as a company and sells, I think, telecommunications more hardware. But they had licensed out the Nokia name for smartphones and tablets, focusing on more affordable devices. Well, unfortunately, HMD is scaling back its U.S. operations, citing, quote, challenging geopolitical and economic environment, which might just be a big old euphemism for the T word, tariffs.
Yeah, could
Now,
be.
they haven't said explicitly that they're, ceasing U.S. operations, but they are scaling back. And in fact, their U.S. web store is offline and product pages no longer function properly. So that just seems like a big old hint. But yes, unfortunately, yeah, HMD really just not being able to make much headway with the Nokia brand, and especially in this current geopolitical and economic environment, maybe even less so. I mean, just HMD has had just limited success in general in the US. They've launched about 4 HMD, so their own brand. They've only launched about 4 of their own smartphones. One of note was the Barbie phone, which I didn't grab a picture of. I don't know if anybody remember the Barbie phone, but also the repairable Skyline device, which apparently is also one of the only phones with Qi 2 charging.
Yep.
So a lot of promising, interesting things, but just not a lot of headway in regards to.
Which
Oh
Barbie phone am I looking at? Because there's a
don't-
lot.
The HMD
Okay.
Barbie.
The flippy phone,
This-
or wait, which
Yeah,
one is-
so
one is it?
HMD. I guess it is this. Well, okay.
Well, okay,
let's
so
see.
it's-
Let's go to Amazon and figure this out once and
so
for all.
it looks like an old school flip phone, but with also a larger smartphone-esque screen on the outside. So like almost like
HMD
a
Barbie. Yeah.
yeah, a
look at that.
flippable. But
This
imagine
was headline news that we missed at some point. How did we miss
It
this?
doesn't run Android. That's why.
That's
Okay.
why. Okay. Well, then why am I showing it?
it's Kai OS. But yeah, imagine like an old school flip phone, or imagine a Z Flip, but like made real like squished on its sides to get kind of skinny and
Yeah.
tall, like an old school flip phone. And I think there was like a Heineken boring phone. So yeah, it seemed like they were kind of going for an interesting niche, kind of like interesting for marketing type series of device, like brand like style of device. But
Is
So-
HMD the restaurant that everybody that like a new owner comes into because they're like, I can make this work, and then they try, and then the restaurant fails.
Red
It's like
Lobster?
that. It's like
Oh
that
my God.
location that just can never, like, it's built for a restaurant. That location, you'd think someone would figure it out, but it keeps not being figured out.
Nokia is Red Lobster, you guys. Like really big. It had its time. It was really big back in the day. We all
It
have
was
very
big back
fond
then.
memories.
We're very nostalgic for it. I don't know
Yeah.
that I'm very nostalgic for Red Lobster,
Who's-
but I know
who's
people
Chili?
were.
Who's Chili's then?
Who's Chili's? Chili's? I don't know.
Or is
Nothing.
Nokia?
ALG?
Is Nokia the Sizzler? Maybe.
This
Sorry,
Sizzler.
Nokia.
But I mean, like I have very
throwback, I know.
No, I have very very fond memories of Chili's. And,
Okay.
and baby back ribs. Chili's baby back ribs.
Baby back ribs.
So I guess pick your franchise restaurant of choice. Insert Nokia is that restaurant. And yes, people keep trying to refurbish it, and it's just not happening. HMD is the last one. Will someone pick up the Nokia brand and try to run with it?
I mean, it's kind of like Napster, right? Like Napster had its time, and then what happened in Napster, and then so many different companies come along and be like, oh, but there's something there, and then every time, it's sold for more and more money, and it never succeeds. Maybe that's Nokia. That's Nokia's fate, at least as relates to Android phones. There's other arms of Nokia's business that are
Yeah, they're
probably doing
fine.
okay, but
But
Yeah.
we're not going to see a revitalization of Nokia bar phones like we have with, say, the Motorola Razr. Probably not in the near future. So if that's you and you miss your 3310s or whatever, sorry, it's just not happening anytime soon. But we are thankful for the history of the Nokia phone that led us to Android Faithful. And as we are very, very, very thankful to our patrons who made this patron pick and the show in general possible. And we would like to thank, especially today, Bobcat. Is that like kebab cat or Babcat? I'm so sorry,
Babcat.
Babcat.
Bab. Hey, Bab.
Bab with
Hey,
3
Bab.
A's. Babcat. Thank you so much.
Babcat.
Babcat and patrons like you, Babcat, make the show possible. So thank you so
It's kinda
much.
fun to say.
And also, again, thank you to Kev for submitting a very fit, cardio-centric bug droid. It makes this gym rat very, very happy. So thank you so much, and thanks again, patrons.
Oh, you all should send us your emails of what you think Nokia and Android relates to. Is it is it a fast food restaurant? Is it something different?
Is it, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll let us know. Contact at androidfaithful.com. We want to know what you think as far as that's concerned.
Oh, my goodness.
We are going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, a world of wonder opens up for you. We're going to talk about Samsung Galaxy Unpacked because it may feel like old news. I mean, it did happen almost a week ago, but last week's show, we talked about what was expected. And then we found out what actually happened, and we had some boots on the ground. So we're going to talk about that after this break. I'm going to pause right there because I don't think that we have Flo, or we sort of do. I see Flo kind of
Said
in the
none of
room,
her
but
webcams are working.
setting things up. So we'll go ahead and stop down, stand by.
Jason, you missed a perfect segue like earlier. I thought you were gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna." You said like something before. I was like expecting you to say unfold. We're gonna unfold all.
We're going to unpack. I said,
Unpack.
No,
We're
I don't
unpacked,
know.
you know?
Yeah,
The easy, you missed low-hanging fruit.
Dang it.
I'm
Hey,
so sorry. I'm gonna take a
I got to
bite.
say, was that okay? Yeah, right now's the time to do that for sure. Got to say, I'm pretty proud of myself because I hit a point with that laptop where I was like, okay, this is clearly not working. You guys, like, obviously, I don't think my audio was weird coming to the stream,
No.
was it? Okay, well, coming to me, everything was super glitchy and like slowing down, and the fan was going nuts. I was like, okay, clearly this isn't working. So I had to like continue controlling the show while running two computers and firing up the other one and getting it moved over. And so hopefully it wasn't too obvious. You vamped well.
I stalled a little bit.
Yeah, you
with,
did, but you did a great
explanation.
job. So thank you for just continuing on. In that situation, it just makes sense to just like move on. Describe as much as you can without the shots, you know.
Oh, Flo said she's here, but she can't select her camera.
Oh, but the camera is like dark, so I didn't take it yet. Strange. So I've got you on stage, but we're not seeing or hearing you, Flo, just so you know. Was that a mic or was that a... It's okay, Flo.
Wait, you can hear me.
Now we can hear you. Now I can hear you, but I can't see you.
You can't see me because something is going on. I don't know why none of my cameras are working.
Oh no.
Oh.
That's all right. We're in break time, so it's all good.
But I'm getting really frustrated because
I know this. When
it's
that happens,
very
it's
stupid.
very frustrating.
Is it StreamYard, Flo?
Oh.
Because when I open
all of Windows is just defaulting to the integrated webcam on my laptop instead of the external ones that are connected. And I just like it will not let me select, even though.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I'm about to lose it. Okay, I'm gonna try to restart one more time. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay. Thank you. Reminder that you can go to af.showbot.tv if you're watching live and drop a title into the title suggestion area, of which we have a few. Just a few.
How many
No
involve
votes yet.
Sizzlers?
None of them involve the Sizzler. Do you remember Sizzler?
Was it a celebration of food? No, that's not Sizzlers.
No, it was like a steakhouse. Sizzler. It was a steak sizzle. It was definitely a chain on the like. Well, it was definitely a chain in Idaho. I know that much.
I know we had. I know I've heard. I remember seeing commercials for them in Maryland, but I don't. I remember going to a Sizzlers.
Let's see here. The Sizzler or Sizzlers. I can't remember. Yeah, it's just Sizzler. Singular.
Oh, Sizzler. Oh.
Sizzler. But you know, those of us who frequented Sizzler like to call it the Sizzler. It actually still exists. And apparently they give unlimited cheese toast.
Oh my God.
Let's fill you up with the cheapest food possible.
Easy way to fill the tummy and get you to
pad the tummy with that golden brown.
Has anyone gone to Fogo de Chao, the Brazilian, and then filled up on the salad bar? Like that's the rickiest. They have an amazing salad bar. And the first time I went, I was like, oh my God, the salad bar is amazing. It has prosciutto on the salad bar. So I got a big ass, excuse my French, a big lump of prosciutto and other assorted meats. And then when the actual Brazilian grilled meat came by on the little sticks, I was like, I'm full. Like, so I messed up. And that was not a cheap dinner.
Yeah.
Like, I know prosciutto's not cheap, but they certainly got me for cheap that night at dinner but that's how they get you, the salad bar. Anyway, it reminds me of that a little bit. Cheese toast.
Cheese toast.
Cheese toast.
Cheese toast.
Does Sean Connery like
unlimited breadstick set?
Oh my God.
Olive Garden?
Yeah.
Because you're hungry too, and sometimes you're just hungry. You're just
You
like
just fill up on breadsticks, and then your
yeah.
food comes out, and you can't eat it.
Yeah,
You ate too much breadsticks. It's not like they benefit from that. You've already ordered your food, like it's not like they're yay.
I think it also lets them get away with serving lower, like smaller amounts and charging more, maybe because like you're getting a lot of food.
Oh, maybe that's
like
it.
a psychological, like the unlimited. I don't know. I'll say it. It's like the unlimited time off that you get at companies, kind of like a trap.
Oh,
like
yes,
it seems
absolutely.
like it's a good deal.
Unlimited time off is a trap, pretty much at most companies, 100%.
Yeah. Never, but see, so Heiberg, first of all, says, dang it, every time I try and click, it gets moved up by another comment. Says, I never eat the breadsticks. I wish I could say that, but I like breadsticks. Like, I think they're yummy.
Breadsticks, dude. I would eat the cheese toast. Like, cheese toast sounds delightful. Cheese toast. Would there be an
I wonder what else Sizzler has other than cheese toast.
Sizzler.
What else do they have on their menu?
Is
See,
your
steak
best Sean
combos.
Connery impression.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, they got surf and turf as well. At
surf and turf.
Surf and turf.
Steak and
Steak and
Italian chicken. Hand-cut steaks.
Tri-tip.
Or tri-tip sirloin. Signature. Oh, yes. Oh, and your handcrafted burgers.
Yes, Pac Northwest, this menu does look old. This is like a retro menu. I'm sure that... Wait, what was that with the cheese on it?
Yeah, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look like my favorite.
It's like a chicken cutlet with one slice of ham and one slice of cheese.
Well, it says ribs and chicken, so where's the ribs? I think I see the chicken, or is it sliced chicken and that's ribs? I don't know. This one confuses me. Ribs and chicken. It doesn't even mention the cheese. That seems to be half of the meal. Yeah, I would not be ordering that.
No, what is it?
Oh, hey, we can see Flo. I'll wait until it's framed. Hello, Flo.
Hello, Flo.
We are pouring.
See you.
We're pouring over the Sizzler menu.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I've been here for a little bit. I've been here for a little bit.
Do they have
I'm
desserts?
sorry, technical difficulties were plaguing.
I'm sorry that I have
It
technical
happens.
difficulties, but now I have my tracking webcam.
Cool.
Oh, so everywhere you go,
Cinematic.
everywhere you go, it's got you.
I'm gonna be very casual. This is ridiculous.
Gonna be cash.
Okay, at least this works. Let's just get
give-
this out of the way before I have a crash out.
Don't crash out. Not until the end of the show.
As the kids say.
As they say. Here, let me see here. Let me make sure audio levels are set appropriately. Okay. All right, so we'll be coming out of the break, and we will have one Florence Ion with us on the other side of the break. So it'll be kind of like a cool magic trick. So everybody stand by, and here we go. All right, we are back, and oh my goodness, we've multiplied. Hello, Florence Ion. How are you doing, Flo?
We've just multiplied. Mitosis is.
This is how it works in the world of Android. How you doing, Flo? Good to see you.
It's good to see you guys. When I miss you, I haven't seen you in a long time. Mishaal, I just saw you last week in person.
You got to hang.
Wait, I saw you for like 5-10 seconds.
I know. And it was so hot, you were barely a blip on my brain because I was just fried.
Yeah, it sounded
definitely
brutal.
not used.
It was
to
brutal
that
in New York.
humidity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounded entirely brutal.
It was
yeah.
brutal, but
Was it brutal?
fruitful.
Yeah, was it warm and stuffy in the Samsung event, or was it temperature controlled? Hopefully?
It was just very hot and humid, and because I'm from California, I like to complain because I like to use that as fodder to say that we have the best weather, and I'm sorry I'm doing that right now, but
we can't take it. We can't take it when we travel anywhere else in the summer. We're just like, oh, it's too hot.
Hey, I'm from Houston, and it gets like.
I know. I was gonna
Yeah.
say we should
Even
probably
then,
shut up
like,
because Mishaal
there's
is
no amount of getting used to it you can do.
There's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
And there is no option around air conditioning like there is here in Petaluma. Most of the people here don't have air conditioning because we have the ocean with a cool breeze every day.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyways, that's our weather report. Good to see you, Flo. It's good to have you here. You're going to be joining us for the rest of the show, and we are happy to have you with us. And what perfect timing. It's almost as if we planned for it because you and Mishaal and Ron, who is also not here this evening, got to go to the Samsung Unpacked event. Tell us a little bit about it. What you got in store? I think I even have a video that we can show at some point.
You do. You have a video, and I have a script to talk over the video.
Oh my goodness.
So
Fancy.
I
This
know
is
we're
like-
gonna have the whole thing.
This is like
We're gonna have the whole
live
thing.
performance. Okay, so then I'm going to wait until you want me to play your video. Do you want me to play it now? Are you ready with your script?
I guess let's just go ahead and do a quick little here's what's going on. So yeah,
Okay.
last week Ron and I went to so last week I went to the Samsung event and I dragged Ron is really what happened. Because poor Ron, I was just telling him to meet me there, and making him run everywhere and be my camera guy and also my note taker and also my stuff holder. So Ron filled many shoes last week. Just want to state for the record. I want to give
Way to go,
Ron
Ron.
his due before we get into the foldables of it all, which is what we were in New York for last week. And that's what we're now going to launch into, Jason, is a nice
Okay.
little recap of everything we saw at Samsung Galaxy Unpacked.
And if you're watching video, you will see some extra visuals. If you're not,
You
you'll
will.
hear Flo's recounting of things.
Yes,
So here,
in
I'm
my
gonna go ahead
best
and-
not on TikTok way.
I didn't realize that this was all scripted. I'm going to hit go in 3, 2, bloop. Nope, that's wrong. Sorry, it pulled up the wrong thing. StreamYard doesn't always behave. Okay, here we go.
Okay,
So
perfect.
tell us, what
Yeah, so
happened?
What happened? Samsung Galaxy Unpacked was last week. Ron and I are still recovering, but before we both crash out, we saw everything Samsung announced: the Galaxy Z Fold 7, the Galaxy Z Flip 7, friends of the show scattered around. You may have seen Josh Vergara in that
Yeah.
quick little clip, and the Galaxy Watch 8. So while I was going hands-on with everything, Ron did his rounds to the demonstration floor, and we had access 2 days before the event. So they kind of just let us run around there to preview the devices, but also get into the meaning of it all, because Samsung does a lot of this to remind us it's been here for a while. Yes. So
Oh.
I went first for the Galaxy Z Fold 7. It's thinner this year, lighter, a little bit wider. This time, I think it's the right size. I believe it's 6. But Mishaal, feel free to jump in if I mess up a spec. 6.5 inches on the front and 8 inches on the inside, which kind of brings it to a full-blown smartphone and tablet size, in my opinion. The screen's bright, it's vibrant, dynamic AMOLED, 120 refresh rate on the inside and out. Really nice and smooth. And then inside, there's a Snapdragon 8 Elite for Samsung, 12 to 16 gigs of RAM, depending on the model you buy, and up to 1 terabyte of storage. And only that 1 terabyte has a 16 gigs. The Z Fold, a lot of Gemini going on with it, which infused into absolutely everything. And also one of the insisted demos by Samsung. So I used it to ask some questions about my shoes. I also used it for generative edits. And I was a little more impressed this time around. I feel like the algorithms may have improved, because I basically took a picture of Ron and then disappeared everyone who was behind him. And
Of which there
it
were
did
a
a
lot of
really
people
good
behind
job.
him.
yeah, it did a really good job. I was, and then they were like, "Oh, well, look, now you can look at side by side and see,
That's
what
neat.
the edit that you did and how you changed it, and look at the magic that you can do with this phone."
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
looks
is.
really good. I mean, I'm looking at it, through multiple layers of video players on a display. But,
I did it a
looks
couple
really
of
good.
times. It was pretty. I did the generative edit a couple of times. It was pretty impressive, because I too was like, "Is this for real? Am I just, falling for it here?" So that's a Z Fold 7, and then of course we got to see
Dun dun
I'm just
dun.
laughing
Probably
at
the
this B-roll
flip.
that Ron took of me going, wow.
Doing the Vanna White demonstration. I love it. All right, the Z Flip 7.
Yeah, the Z Flip 7. So also got its debut. Now the company can claim it has the biggest cover screen in the flip phone business.
In the
Or what
flippin'
it calls the
world.
flex window. Yes, 4.1 inches on the front, also 120 hertz refresh rate now. It's a literal point bigger than the Moto Razr's largest cover screen. And so you're probably going to get that beaten to death in the marketing, just to remind you.
When you say, wait a minute, back up on that. When you say bigger, what do you mean? Like taller or?
The cover screen on the Moto Razr is 4.0 inches, 4.0
Yeah.
whatever inches. Samsung's is 4.1 inches.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So it's this literal, like,
get right there.
so you can say that, well, we're
Yes.
the best one ever because by
Yep.
half a point.
Of course.
Yes, of course. Okay, inside display still 6.9 inches, which is good. The phone runs on Samsung's Exynos processor. I completely forgot the number of that one. 12 gigs of RAM and up to 512 gigs of storage. And then this is a dual 50 megapixel camera setup. Hope I didn't mess that up. Inside selfie cam's also been bumped up to 10 megapixels, so it's just slightly sharper than before. Overall, nice little bump up in the Z Flip family.
The cover
definitely
screen.
think.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the cover screen apps, like on the Motorola, on the Razr Ultra, you could practically put any app on the cover screen, right? And I mean, some of them work better than others, but you could really do that. Could you do that here?
No.
You're limited to
no.
certain.
You're still
apps.
limited to certain apps, and if you want to run any app, you still have to install Good Lock and then I think Multistar is what it's called to run any app. But yeah, it's still limited compared to the Motorola Razr.
Interesting. All right. So
so you have to know to go into the Samsung Galaxy Store and install that stuff. It's kind of it is a bit of a power user thing.
Yeah, sounds like it. Okay, that's a differentiator for sure then.
Yeah.
But the hardware looks really nice.
The hardware is really nice. You know, can't compete with that. The only thing is I'm right-handed, so every time I take a selfie, I get my finger in the lens. Or you're seeing my arm.
Yeah.
Oh, do you use the volume buttons to take selfies? I've just been holding my palm up. That works really well for me.
The palm, I do the palm thing. I do the palm thing, but it doesn't. It's not always.
I never think to do that.
Video.
I've had plenty of phones that allow me to take pictures like that, but I never remember to do that. I always forget. Interesting.
Does?
Okay, so we got more flip action though. Let me hit play.
Yes, we do. Because after this loving B-roll of me taking a selfie with the Z Flip 7 is...
There it is. There she is.
I didn't time the script very well, by the way.
Don't worry about it. I'm pausing and stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The
Z Flip 7 FE.
7 FE, which stands for Fan Edition. Now, this is meant to be cheaper with all the reasons that you'd buy a Z Flip in the first place. But it's a little clunkier than the regular Z Flip 7. There's a smaller 3.4-inch cover screen and a 6.7-inch screen on the inside. The processor, is a Exynos 2400 with 8 gigs of memory only and up to 256 gigs of storage. So it's a pretty limited subset of specs. Main camera is a 50 megapixel main with a 12 megapixel ultra wide. And all of this is what, $200 to $300 less?
I think it's $200 less.
$200.
I think the Z Flip 7 is $1099, and the 7 FE is $899. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay. $900 versus $1,100.
And from what I can tell, the Z Flip 7 FE is basically it's the same body, the same chassis as the Z Flip 6, but with an Exynos chip and a newer version of One UI, is what it seems like.
Oh, wow. Yep. Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
It is interesting.
And so for $900, so then, I mean, based on a very short amount of time and all that, like, is a $200 reduction for what you get. I don't know, man, these phones are so expensive. Like, When the budget version of this is $900 friggin' dollars, like you're 100
Yeah.
shy of that 4-digit mark. That's just crazy.
It's not really a budget version.
No, definitely
I
not.
think the general consensus has been like, just get the
Just-
Flip 6 if you can.
Yeah. Just lay down for
Yeah.
the better one. Yeah. I mean, the cover screen alone, right? Like that smaller, the smaller real estate for the cover screen, that would get, I feel like, kind of annoying to know that you could have everything and now you only have this little folder. I guess it's not tiny, but by comparison.
Yeah.
I mean, people are using that cover screen. The shuttle driver that Samsung hired for the day of the event, I noticed when I got into his shuttle that he had an older version of the Z Flip kind of nicely clipped underneath the radio portion of
Oh, just like sandwiched around
the
it
dash.
or whatever, closed around it?
No, he had like a little mount so that it was just closed and just nicely stuck in there so that he wasn't opening it and closing it. He could just control it from the front. But, it seems to me that's like the main way that people want to use the phone. They're looking at this and going, oh, yeah, I want to be able to do all that stuff from the cover screen. So the bigger cover screen makes more sense.
Totally. Yeah. That was one of my favorite parts of the Razer Ultra was the cover screen, not having to unfold it all the time. Yeah. Cool. All right. Fair edition.
Yeah. But that's not it. But that's not all. That's not all, I should say. But that's not all. We also had some new Galaxy watches, which are coming up after the B-roll of this Flip 7.
I know. I don't have much room to scroll anymore. I promise you, it's coming now. There we go.
It's very quick. Galaxy Watch 8 and Galaxy Watch 8 Classic. All you have to know is the regular Galaxy Watch 8 is slightly bigger with a squircle design, slightly bigger 325 milliamp battery, up from 300 in last year's, plus faster charging speeds. And this is the watch to try if you want Samsung Health's new vascular load and antioxidant index features. This is also the first smartwatch to ship with Gemini right out of the box. I do have it for review, so we're going to get a full rundown of this device once I've had some time to use it for everything that it is claiming to do. I'm especially curious about that antioxidant index because to me, it just sounds like the worst kind of feature to introduce during a time when science is really being questioned by the masses. And it's not that I, want to delegitimize the idea of the antioxidant index. It's just, of all the things that we should be paying attention to, was that something that we were all vying for?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little confused about that myself. But purely from the fact that I just literally don't know. I don't know. Is it something I should be paying attention to?
Its usefulness is dubious.
Okay.
But that is an added feature, optional. I don't think it necessarily detracts from the rest of it.
It's not even FDA approved in the US, by the way. So
so we wouldn't even get it on the US version of these watches then, right?
I don't. Actually, I could be thinking about something else. God, I've taken so much information about this.
No, I mean you can use the antioxidant in the US. It's just that
yes, you can.
It's just it's not of any medical use.
Correct.
I see. Okay. Interesting. And then the last part of what we're watching, if you're watching the video version, this is the kind of pared down version of the watch, right? It's a little simpler, a little smaller. Is that right?
That's the regular version.
This is the regular. Okay.
Version.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then the big one is 46 millimeter, I think, and then the little ones are 42 and 44, or 41 and 43. Something like that.
Something like that. All right. So I will say, and I think that's the end of the B-roll. I don't think that we have a ta-da.
But there's also the Watch 8 Classic. Did we talk about that?
I did not talk about the Watch
Don't
8
know that we have B-roll for that, Mishaal.
Yeah.
Well, let's make some right here.
No, that was the Classic was in our B-roll. It just
was
okay. We just didn't talk about it.
Oh, it was that one?
It's part of it. Yeah. No.
Okay.
The Classic, yes. The Classic is the one they brought the rotating bezel back, so you can actually twist and turn.
Oh, look at that! They just can't make up their mind on the bezel, can they? they taketh and then they bring it back, and then
Yep.
they take it away and then they bring it back.
And yeah, I have this one for review. I might do a review.
There we go.
Really nice so far. And I think Flo said she has the regular one.
Uh-huh.
So we got both of them.
Hold on, I'm coming to show you. Hold on. I just need to pull my chair in. Okay, there we go. Yep. I did. I got the regular Galaxy. I haven't opened it yet because I'm still, for those of you who've been reading the site, I'm still finishing up my OnePlus watch and 43mm review. I've been actually really enjoying the battery life out of it. So as you can see,
you get used to that, and it's really hard to undo. It's really hard to undo.
Yeah. Like
But
the
here's
classic
the
for me
circle.
so far, I haven't had it for very long, but it's like a little over 2-day battery life.
Okay. Which isn't horrible, but
It's decent, but
Yeah.
it's not the 5 days I was getting.
it's not 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
Totally get used to it. It's hard to undo.
Yeah.
I will say, Flo, you were amazing and gracious enough to drop the fold off with me for the weekend. I took care of your little baby while you took your family camping.
Dude, you kept it really clean, by the way. I was like, oh, this isn't bad. Why was he freaking out about cleaning it yesterday? It was fine.
Oh, because with all those devices, the second you put your hand on it for a split second, there's smudges everywhere, and I didn't want to give you a smudge phone. But I had it for the weekend, so I got to kind of get a short amount of time with the Fold, and yeah, that's a thin device. I mean, it's like right on par with the S25 Ultra. Actually, you know what I figured out? It's the same as the Pixel 9a. It's the same thickness as the Pixel 9a.
Oh yeah, that's
Look
a
at
good
this.
point.
Here's the USB-C port.
Yeah.
Yep.
Slightly thicker
zoom
than
in on
the
this.
USB-C port. Yeah, let's see.
Look how thin it is.
Yeah, pull it back just a little bit for video viewers so it can get the focus. But yeah,
it's barely thicker than the USB-C port. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It's like
and
almost
lighter.
identical in thinness to the Oppo Find N5 and the Honor Magic B5 Fold, which are both like as thin as you can possibly get. And this is also even lighter than the Oppo Find N5. So Samsung has definitely done a really good job at slimming this device down. And a lot of people saying are like, oh, one of the comments I was reading online when this phone was announced was like, oh, why should we care that they slimmed it down a bit and they made it slightly less heavy? They didn't just slim it down a little bit or make it slightly less heavy. They made it way less heavy and way slimmer. And that makes a huge difference when you're holding a device as big as this.
And not just holding, like I found that device, when I put it in my pocket, didn't feel like a brick. You know what I mean? Like I'm so used to having different smartphones in my pocket. It's my default to where my phone goes when I'm not, when I'm out and about and don't have it in my hand. And so I'm used to what a normal phone feels like when it's in my pocket. And some of the previous foldables really did have like a total brick quality. Like not only were they heavy, but they were big, they were fat, and they felt different in the pocket, less comfortable. I don't know. It was just heavy, almost like I was carrying a brick in my pocket. And this one felt a lot less like that. Like it was very, very similar, if not incredibly close to just having an S25 Ultra, which granted, the S25 Ultra is a pretty big candy bar, big and heavy candy bar smartphone. But to know that we've got the foldables finally kind of coming into the realm of size and weight and all that with, some pretty standard smartphones, that's exciting. That's good. I like it.
Definitely agree.
Yeah.
Like, I've only had it for a few days, and I'm enjoying it way better than when I had the Fold 6 and the Fold 5.
Yeah. Are you being wooed right now, Huyen? Is this wooing?
She already ordered one, didn't she?
I was wooed. I was
You were properly wooed.
I was properly wooed previously, and I have already pre-ordered my fold. So yes, I'm really excited, you guys. I
Cool.
thank you for all the very lovely close-up glamorous shots of it. I'm super excited. And this is like the first time I've been excited about a fold in like at least 2 to 3 generations.
Yeah.
I feel like they listened to us all bitching at them for the last couple of years. Like, well, it's the same. It's the same phone. It's the same.
Yeah,
phone.
right.
Are you going to tap out Morse code with it though? Because it does, stick up a tiny bit with that big camera lens on the back. Makes a nice little tap noise.
Stick up. Oh, it
Yeah,
also
it does.
wobbles
Little
a crazy amount
Oh,
when it's folded, right?
I love that
Yeah.
I just had a very instant, like very tactile. I just had like this very vivid experience when you said that, Flo. I was like, yes, I know. Yes, yeah, yes. That I
The
yes.
Titanic has hit an iceberg.
SOS.
There it
Oh,
is.
that's a that.
Oh,
Oh
oh,
my
that's
God.
okay. You're opening it. That reminds me of something. One of my
Yes.
complaints, one of my criticisms, is
Go
that
ahead.
the byproduct of the thinness is that it becomes harder to get your fingers to grip in order to open. And I had
Now
a
you need
couple of
nails.
yes, or I feel like some foldables have had a little like fingerprint shaped notch in it so that you know where your finger goes in order to pry it open, which is, a symptom of a really great hinge. That hinge is fantastic. It's very, tough and durable and it does its job correctly. But as a result, and with the thinness of the display, it's really hard to kind of get a grip sometimes. I noticed when I was out and about, if I was like focused on it was one thing, but if I was out and about, casually pull it out, just want to open it up real quick. I had a couple of times where I was like, oh, I got to hold on to it tighter because, I wasn't able to kind of like pry it open, like just instinctively, I guess.
I'll say I haven't
Makes
had
sense.
that issue really.
Yeah, interesting.
Like I haven't had to like bury my nails in between or anything. I've kind of
I
just like
I
as long as I
totally
have
did.
one finger firmly on one half, the other on one half, the other half, then I could just pull in the opposite directions and it opens.
Maybe my hands are
I
just
definitely do need
sweaty.
two hands though.
They were sweaty and they just like slip off,
It's a you problem,
It's a
Jason.
me problem, yeah.
Is the crease as unnoticeable as it looks like from the videos? Because it looks
Oh,
just
yeah.
minimal.
Crease is very minimal.
Yeah.
It looks
It
like
is
almost
minimal, but it's
creaseless.
really funny you said that because that was totally a thing where I had a couple of Samsung attendants come and be like, "Did you notice that the crease is like super unrecognizable? Like on look, you can barely see it." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks."
I mean, thankfully
Yeah.
we're at a point to where that's true, because we've been complaining
know, but
about
it
the
was
crease
just-
fold for a long time.
I don't know. I kind of accepted it as part of the experience
Yeah.
these past couple generations, so it wasn't really something that I was immediately drawn to, but it was the fact that like 3 separate people came up to me, which let me know that this is something they had in their
Yeah,
workflows.
yeah. It's the priority. I mean,
Don't
yeah.
forget.
Don't forget.
I
No
feel
more
like
crease.
we didn't mention the elephant in the room.
What's that?
Something that this device is lacking that other Z Folds have had in the
Oh.
past.
Yes.
The Spen.
Spen,
The Spen.
the
Yeah.
S Pen.
No more
It made
S
it thinner as a result.
Yep, they got rid of the
So-
digitizer, and they
Oh, okay.
say that
I was gonna say, like,
contributed
they did-
to it being thinner.
Okay.
So
They
sorry, just
probably
to be
did.
clear, that's the layer that actually reads the data from the pen, and so that part's gone,
Yeah,
and that's
the
why
pen
that's part of
digitizer.
why. Okay, just to be
Yeah.
I didn't
I
know
have to
that.
imagine that layer isn't that thick, but I mean, it's all
Yeah.
fractional at that point.
When I asked them, they
anyways.
said it was definitely part of why
Yeah.
they made it thinner. They also said they slimmed down the camera actuator, kind of the same thing they did with the S25 Edge to make it slimmer.
Okay.
And they also made the battery wider, I believe. So like it is takes up more space, when stretching it out. And since the screen is wider, they're able to do that as well. So like
Hmm.
a lot of tiny optimizations here and there allow them to make it slimmer.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, it is interesting. It's also understandable, but I have it's probably going to come back. It's just their goal this time around was to make sure they could, make
Yeah,
it
I
thin.
wonder if
I don't
it'll
know.
come back.
I always felt it was kind of shoehorned in on the foldable.
I felt that a
Like
little
they
too.
just kind of
Yeah.
added in out of like obligation, like, oh, we have these loyal users who've been using pens for so long. We
That's what
can't
I was thinking.
launch a
yeah.
device without it. So they kind of like had to find ways to kind of add it on with these really bulky cases that just had the pen on the side or on the hinge.
I
It
mean,
always
if it had
felt
been
really awkward.
embedded, it would have been one thing. But you needed a
Yeah.
case for it to tack
The fact that
onto,
it's
and-
not
and that
embedded
was a
always
little
made it
different.
very
Yeah.
clunky with the Z
Yeah.
Fold and the cases they did sell.
Yeah.
The S Pen would never stay in them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I even wrote an article about it once because it was annoying me so much, and I was like, "Oh, let me just complain because this doesn't make it. Well, I'm losing an S Pen in my bag. Like how?
Yeah. Ooh,
How?
No good.
Um,
No good.
And like I said, they
Snap
made them
into.
crazy clunky. Like my dad has a Z Fold 5 with the S Pen case, and this device, when it's folded, it's half as, or at least the Fold 5 with the
Yeah.
S Pen case is twice as thick as this device when it's folded. It's crazy. Like
wow.
That's how bulky it makes it.
That's how far we've come. Well, Flo, you have shared lots of musings on this over the last few days, haven't you?
I have. Oh my gosh, and also Ron helped out with coverage. But okay, first what I did first. We're trying something new here at Android Faithful. We are, first and foremost a podcast, a show, but we are also just people who really want to talk and write about this stuff. So Android Faithful is a great place to go and read what we have to say. I went hands-on with all the new products, kind of talked about first impressions. It was really nice to get a lay of the land for how everybody is going to be competing in this upcoming flagship wars. We
Solid
also
photos on these articles. Good photos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Jason. It was very hard, I have to tell you. I need to get my camera cleaned. It's a whole thing. But anyway, Ron also helped a little bit with coverage because there was no way that I could absolutely cover everything. So we had some last minute news come in from Google because, Google was at the Samsung event. Sameer Samat was like in the audience. They were, you saw Rick Osterloh there at the event. So they were there. And so they had their own tandem announcements that they made. Circle to Search obviously was a really big part of this release because every time Samsung has a big hardware push, it's an opportunity for Google to have a big Gemini push and remind us that this is what Android is going to be about going forward. And the one thing that I'm really going to be looking forward to trying is being inside of a game and then using Circle to Search. Because apparently this is a thing that you're supposed to be able to use. And I want you to know that I did try and use this the other day and it didn't work.
Beta AI.
And it's because
AI.
I didn't use the game they told me to try it in. I used the different game.
Okay. It doesn't work with every game. The AI has not played every single game yet.
I know, but then what's the point? How am I? I have this Hello Kitty puzzle game. It's got the rules of Candy Crush, but it's with Hello Kitty characters. It's very hard to play. And I cannot find any hints. I cannot find any hints about it.
Maybe share your screen with Gemini Live next time and ask it.
You'll be training it.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep trying. Actually, Mishaal, I'm gonna keep because the game is perfect for the fold. So and I play it before bed. Helps me wind down. Newsletter. Did you all know that we have a newsletter here at Android Faithful? You can sign up for it at androidfaithful.com. You can also read it for now at androidfaithful.com. But please, if you have the ability, go over and sign up to get it delivered to your inbox every week. I round up the news and any interesting links I've seen across the web that may be related to your Android way of life, and I write about it. And sometimes I put in little animated GIFs. Yes.
Look at that. This week's newsletter, of course, all about foldables. So definitely check it out, everybody.
Yeah, and me still complaining that foldables are too expensive.
I mean, they are. It's true.
Rightly so.
Well,
and
especially
I know, but still.
Especially when we've got a trifold on the horizon as well. Where did the trifold thing go? I swear oh, there it is. Trifold should launch this year. Is related news. That's what TM Rowe had said. And you can only imagine how much this sucker is going to cost when it comes out. I mean, this thing's probably going to be like $3,000.
It's probably going to be clunky
over
too.
$3,000.
Yeah, you think? Oh God,
Mishaal, did you notice when you were at the event? Did you? And I don't want to call out any names, but did you notice any folks that were wielding the Huawei equivalent of the trifold?
Actually, I didn't notice. I wasn't.
Because I did see one person of the press. Of the media.
Had the Huawei trifold?
Had the Huawei trifold. And
wow. Okay.
We were talking about it. And, one of the main complaints is just that it's not the the finished experience that the Z Fold feels like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine a trifold would feel polished at this point.
Although
in first generation.
Samsung's is rumored to be folding differently because
Oh yeah, that's right.
Huawei's,
that's right.
Yeah, Samsung is rumored to be like a
G.
How the heck
A
do you even
G
describe
fold.
it?
Letter G instead
Oh,
of
I think
Right,
Samsung
that's
is
right.
rumored to be like those old school presentation posters that you used to do.
The portfolios where you fold
Oh
them
my
into
God,
each other.
yes.
Yes.
What were the? Sorry, I'm so sorry. What were those called? They had like a name, like the.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Oh my
But
God.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, right? Yeah.
Sorry. That just I just had a
For
big...
your science
Brought
project.
back a
Yes.
wave
Yes.
of nostalgia. Yep.
Yes. Sorry, I'm riding that wave. Okay, thank you. Sorry, continue.
No, it's that makes sense, Mishaal. And then the Huawei one is the one that folds like a Z.
The one that should actually be called the Z Fold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that never made sense to me either.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, there we are. So Samsung Unpacked, a success for those of you who got to go.
Samsung Unpacked.
To
Well, and I want to pat us
Unpacked
all
intense
here on the
detail.
back at Android Faithful
Y'all
because
did great.
we were there in attendance. We got to see this new stuff. I'm going to be doing the full review of the Z Fold 7 in the next week or so. We're going to be doing reviews of the new watches. So we have a lot of really exciting stuff for people to look forward to.
Yes, indeed. I think I'm going to get the Flip at some point. I think that's on its way to me, so I'm excited about that.
I did put you on that
Flip
task.
arriving tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I have a Flip arriving tomorrow, so I can maybe
Nice.
show it off next week.
Sweet. Cool. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. But that's not all, folks. I got something in the mail.
Yes, you did.
Yesterday, and I've saved it for
Wait,
today.
What do you mean, Jason? I thought you didn't get anything in the mail. Didn't you get nothing?
No, that's true. I didn't get something. I definitely got nothing. This is the Nothing Phone 3. And as Nothing loves to do, they give you a big, bold box. In this case, they're giving you a close-up of the non-symmetrical camera and glyph matrix layout. But they make it really fun to open these boxes because it's kind of like a destructive experience often. Although this one doesn't seem as destructive as some of the other ones have been. Hopefully it doesn't stump me. But anyways, I thought, what better way to kick off a review process of a smartphone than to unbox it and show it off for video viewers, audio listeners. You just get crinkles of paper and everything. There's other stuff in here, but you really don't care about that. Well, actually, there's a case. Okay, well, I'll probably put that on. It's a see-through case. All right, get out of here. This is the Nothing Phone 3. I'm going to kick it off into boot up mode right now as I can tell you just a little bit about it. Hopefully it has a little bit of juice. Got the essential. Oh, the essential button on the side is got like a shiny quality to it. 6.67 inch OLED, 120 hertz display, 4,500 nits of peak brightness. I feel like this thing's going to be screaming when I'm outdoors. That'll be interesting. HDR10 plus display as well. I'm of course going to skip right through this so that we can get right to the home screen and everything and hopefully test out the glyph matrix. Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 processor. Yes, skip, which is not the highest, it's not a Snapdragon, Elite, it's not the 8 Elite necessarily, but, is it good enough? I don't know. I guess that's one of the criticisms that people are saying about this phone is that, it's $799 in the US, $899 if you get maxed 16 gigs, 512 gigs storage. But Nothing is definitely calling this, their flagship. And I think a discussion that I continue to have around this is there a difference between premium and flagship? Is a flagship relative to a company's offerings, or does a flagship mean best of the best across all categories? And I'm not sure that I agree that flagship means best of the best across all categories. I think it's relative to what a company offers, but I could be wrong. I don't know. What do you think on that, Mishaal? Do you think that's in the right ballpark?
Yeah, I think, it's kind of in like a weird position where they're treating it like their flagship device because for them it's their flagship
For them, it
device,
is right.
but it doesn't have the most flagship processor. So a lot of people have been criticizing them for that. But also, it's like a pretty high end price, but not as expensive as some other super premium flagship devices. And it doesn't have the absolute pinnacle of like camera specs or everything. Like it's kind of in a weird place. It's like in the past, this is the kind of device you would call like a flagship killer device, which never really made sense as like an actual product
Gotta
term.
love that old saw.
But it's
Yeah.
like, it's like in that position where it has like good enough specs in a lot of key areas, especially where the areas that matter to smartphone enthusiasts, but it's still not competing in terms of like the camera quality in some areas, or it doesn't have the Snapdragon 8 Elite. So it is kind of in a weird spot. And I think overall, there are certain things that elevate it above others, even in higher price categories, certain things that kind of detract. It really is in an awkward position, but I'm curious to hear what you think about it after you're using it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, this is my kind of first opportunity having it in my hands. It has a little bit of weight. Definitely, we were talking about thin phones, and this does not, it's not the thinnest phone in the world. It almost it feels, without having the Ultra to compare it directly against, it feels kind of in that territory of thickness. But that's not automatically a bad thing. It feels consequential and heavy enough. I think a lot of people were kind of giving it a little bit of a ding for the kind of camera layout, which has had a little bit more symmetry, I think, in the past than it seemingly does right now. Really, it's just these three cameras, but when you're talking about the lenses, these two are lined up. This one's kind of off to the side, but you can kind of see it's not like it doesn't have its own styling that's centered there. I don't know. I have a feeling this is the kind of design that's you're either going to love or you're going to hate. It's probably pretty polarizing as far as that's concerned. This, I believe, is more the LED flash. And then this, of course, is the glyph matrix, which with this button, I've been curious about how the button operates. So if I tap it, you can see the LEDs light up. So instead of having the big glyph LED bars all around the back of the phone, which is what we're used to with Nothing's phones, now we have this little circular matrix, which I think is something like 490 LEDs or something like that, that makes this up. And if I tap it, and it's not like, it's definitely a pressure sensitive area, but it's not a button that sticks out. So there is no tactile quality to that button. It's just right underneath the glass. If I tap it, which is just kind of pushing harder, then I don't know what some of these things are, but it kind of flips through some of the toys or whatever they call it. I can't remember what they call it. How do I get it to spin? I don't know how to operate it yet. Obviously some research for me to do on this thing. But anyways, you do have 3 50 megapixel cameras on the back. OIS on 2 of them with a 3x periscope telephoto as one of these, so that's good. This little red thing right here is a little LED that lights up. I think when you're like doing an audio recording or a video recording, I think that kind of blinks at you. In fact, I could probably test that out right now. If we go into, no, don't do that. Let's go ahead and record. Yes, there we go. Okay, so we heard a loud bleep. And now I know that I'm video recording. So is that necessary? These are just like the design touches that Nothing is so known for. Again, and I think we talked about this when this was announced, Nothing is a design company. They just happen to be a design company that bases their design around technology. So I think some of these things are neat. Are they essential? Are they necessary? No, but they're cool to have, I suppose. They differentiate. They give you the feeling when you have the phone that you have something that not many other people have. And I guess if you're a phone company, you want lots of other people to have it. So maybe they're hoping that changes. But 5150 milliamp hour battery here in the US. It's 5500 in India, by the way. 65 watt wired fast charge. You got 15 watt wireless charging. Android 15. With Nothing OS 3.5, you get 5 years of OS updates, 7 years of security. So not quite at that 7-year mark, but considering this is a less expensive device, also considering that this is a company that I don't know what their long-term support is going to be from a hardware perspective. I mean, I guess it's understandable, but I would always love to see 7 years. And I guess you get that with security. So at the end of the day, that's actually pretty good now that I think about it. IP68 durability. And then, yeah, that glyph matrix. There's a lot of different like toys, or I can't remember what they call them, that tap into that. I think the real question is, again, how instrumental is that? Does it achieve the same kind of the same utility that the glyph lights did? Because I kind of got used to seeing those glyph lights when a notification came through. I thought that was kind of neat and useful. And I actually wonder if this little area up there makes it a little bit less easy to see without explicitly trying to do so. Does that make sense? So I don't know, but I'm very curious to find out more about the Nothing Phone 3 that I have right here. That's all I got. I don't know. What do you think? Do you like the design? Every year it's same but different.
It's unique.
Unique.
It's
saying something. I like it.
I feel like other Nothing phones were unique in like a good way. Like they would catch a glance and everyone's like, "Oh, what is that phone? That looks nice.
Yeah.
That looks cool, different." This one is like, people will say, "Oh, that looks unique," but then half of them will say, "Oh, it looks ugly."
Yeah.
The other half will say, "Oh, it looks interesting."
Right.
Some people will really vibe with it, but I feel like this is too far in the weird direction.
It's the backside. It's like remember when BMW was making all of their brake lights look like shells and it didn't look quite right? This is a very specific thing I'm bringing up, but it reminds me of like when you look at the back of a car, you're on the freeway and you're like, oh wow, I actually don't really like the design of that car. That's what the lenses and all the circular stuff on the back is doing for me. It's just like so many circles to kind of balance out.
Yeah, it feels unbalanced. Like it feels top heavy or something somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're not alone in thinking that. I think that's what a lot of people is throwing them off about this, is there is a balance, a perception around misbalance here. I can tell you, holding it, it doesn't feel misbalanced. It feels pretty evenly distributed from a weight perspective. It definitely does feel though like it has some kind of beef to it. You know what I mean? It feels consequential. It feels sturdy and slightly brick-like.
It's so funny
probably put a hole in the wall with it.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not throwing this in my wall anytime soon.
No, it's funny because when you brought the box out, Jason, I actually think I like the design better on the box because it was square. Really? You know, like I don't know, that feels more balanced than the actual phone.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, just it makes a really good. That's the thing, though. I think like the hero images, the half shots. There's a lot to like about it, but when you actually hold it in your hand, it just. There's so much empty space.
That's a really good point that you're bringing up, because when I think of the other Nothing phones, they always had camera information in the top third as well. It's not, it was maybe more circular than it was laid out in like a horizontal fashion. But what they also did is they also had some interesting things going on here, some swirls, some arcs and stuff. And here what you're seeing is it's a very linear kind of design that kind of makes it seem like there's less going on.
Yeah.
And maybe if they had added some of these little kind of curvatures around here, it would fill in the space a little bit better, make it not seem like an empty canvas. And I think we're used to, from Nothing, not seeing an empty canvas. We're so used to seeing the opposite. And this is kind of showing us a little bit of emptiness that we're not used to seeing from them. That's an interesting point.
Just some emptiness. Some nothingness.
A little nothingness, to fill out the space.
Something. Yeah.
Touche.
Too much nothing on the Nothing phone.
Right.
You need a little
so there we
on
go.
The nothing. Yeah.
So anyways, so I'm going to have the flip and I'm going to have this, and they're going to be competing against each other. So that'll be interesting. Okay. Wow. We have gone long with today's show. So
because we have a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. We got to take a break. Then we got some app news, a couple of pieces of feedback, and then we'll round things out. So don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, Huyen, you can kick us off with some app news. What you got?
Well, I got something that is homegrown, that is homemade by us, talking about the wonderful work that not me, but y'all are doing on the website. Ron did a little bit of a piece on a brand new feature. It's not totally brand new. It was available in Google's Flow tool, but now Gemini is getting a quote mind-blowing photo to video feature, and actually it's actually genuinely impressive. So this is Google photo to video, where you can upload a photo, a static photo, add a text prompt to describe the scene and even what audio you want. And the newest, latest, and greatest video model VO3 from Google creates a video. Ron used it at Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. There are some Gemini provided. They are from Gemini, but some Google provided samples, which are pretty impressive. But Ron got some pretty interesting video himself. He actually used it at the event. I think he made like the Galaxy Z Flip get up and move.
Yeah, so I just switched modes. So maybe if you're watching the video version, maybe you'll be able to hear this.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and then.
It walks away.
Yeah. So
Right.
yeah.
So the Foley work could be improved, but it's a good start.
Yeah. So Ron took a picture of the Z Flip 7 at the event and asked Gemini to make the flip sprout legs and arms and walk away, and it did it. And like so videos are limited to 8 minutes, but Ron noted that it was
8 seconds.
8
seconds.
Not 8 minutes.
Oh
yes,
my
thank
goodness,
you.
8 minutes.
8 seconds. 8 seconds. They are 8 seconds, limited to 8 seconds, but Ron noted that the generation time is really fast, from 1 to 2 minutes per video, which is, sorry, I was reading 1 to 2 minutes and 8 minutes now. That would be extra. You can do this.
You can do this. This is an Android bug droid flying into the Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. But I think it's so interesting because these all they all begin their life from a photo that you took.
Yeah.
Yep.
And whether the video that follows represents any sort of sense of reality, at least the first frame is real.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's such an interesting concept. Like I can imagine, I doubt this is going to happen, but I could kind of see Google rolling this into just Google Photos and be like, animate any photo in your library. But that would be very expensive.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Jason, you have the Honor phone, right? Didn't Honor do exactly that, but with VO2 instead?
Yeah, I don't have that phone, but yes, they did do that. Exactly.
The results were mixed. I think that first video was a total banger. And there's another one that Ron posted somewhere of like a plate of ribs, and then he asked it to generate a alien picking up the rib and eating it, and it actually generated a sauce stain under the rib when the alien picked up the rib, which I was just absolutely fascinated by. The bug droid parachuting one was a little odd. Like, I think it was a pretty involved prompt, and it's definitely, you can see the seams of where the AI didn't quite follow everything. And I think he had asked
Can do this.
he had asked VO to like make the crowd applaud, and they don't care. They don't give a they don't give a fuck.
No.
Just like whatever.
The VO couldn't even make the crowd care.
You know what I just noticed? And I don't know if I'm just wired in incorrectly or not, but the sound effect for the plane is opposite of the direction that it's going.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait, play it again. Hold on.
I don't know if you're going to hear the stereo, but I do. Here we go.
Can do this.
Did it come through in
Yeah.
stereo?
Yeah.
Did it come through in stereo?
It'd be sounding. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
It sounds like it's going in the opposite
Could you be
direction.
sounding off?
Physics don't be real.
Don't be real. It ain't real. But yes,
It's not Memorex.
it's amazing. And Google has claimed that over 40 million videos have been generated in just 7 weeks. So it definitely is a conversation starter, and something. I mean, you can do a lot of creative stuff with this. Is this going to replace film studios? Not anytime soon.
No.
But I mean, as is said many times, a lot of this kind of technology, I don't know about everything in AI, but a lot of technology like this is only getting better. Like, this is the worst that this technology is going to be. So take that as you will. I mean, I don't think
Interesting.
everything in AI is like that, but the video generation certainly is. So I don't know. If you have it. Oh, by the way, this requires a Google AI Ultra or Pro subscription. So this isn't just like everybody can do it, but if you do have either of those and want to, actually that'd be. I mean, can we do like a video version of the patron pick image? Like,
Heck yeah.
Okay.
If someone sends in a video version of it, we'd
And
totally
I can very
do that.
easily convert it into a GIF.
Yeah. Oh.
Cool.
But
Apparently
it
that's
but it
all
wouldn't
I
have the
do.
sound effect.
No, I know, but you know, if you want to do it, I could do it.
The really high quality sound effect.
Jason's
If-
eyes were a little bit sarcastic when he said that for the
No.
audio.
If y'all have a
only.
video that you want animated or like a picture you want animated, just send them over to me. I have Ultra, so I can turn
There you
them
go.
out as much
All
as,
right.
as much as I want.
Okay, so challenge to y'all that
Dang.
have Google AI Ultra or Pro subscription and you want to play around with the photo to video, send us your 8-second hopefully delightful, probably hilarious video.
Maybe a little creepy.
Generated videos. Maybe a
Yeah.
little
Contact-
creepy, but yeah.
Contact at androidfaithful.com.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
There you be. All right. Mishaal, tell us about Gemini Space. It continues to look like it's an actual thing that might actually happen.
So Gemini Space, Google has been rumored. I mean, I started the rumors that Google is working on a now bar-like feature for Pixel phones, and it's looking like my colleague at Android Authority, Assemble Debug, has found some more evidence and even managed to activate an early version of it. So what it looks like Google is doing is they're basically supercharging the at-a-glance experience by adding even more features that aren't currently available, like it's showing sports and birthday cards, finance and daily hub features. And basically, you have a lot of things that can appear in the at-a-glance experience right now, but they're going to expanding that with a lot more capabilities. And this feature will even show up on your always-on display in the future.
Wow.
And from what it looks like this is made possible by, this is more Win developer talk. Like Google has basically integrated remote view support into the at-a-glance widget. It's not an actual widget, but it allows them to embed remote views, which is like the API that a lot of other widgets actually use. So theoretically, Google could embed arbitrary widgets into the at-a-glance widget. But we don't know to what extent Google will be integrating, like if they'll be opening up an API for developers to show their own widgets into at-a-glance. But that is what powers this new capability, from what we know. Like this finance card, these sports cards, those are all widgets that are provided by the Google app. And if Google were to expand this capability, then you could have a lot more stuff show up in the at-a-glance, or soon to be called Gemini Space.
Interesting.
I will say remote views as an API is terrible. It's partly why you don't get as many widgets. Actually, we talked to my friend JP about this last year at DroidCon. And also, fun fact, the Compose Jetpack Compose composification of that API is called Glance. So I actually think though it's probably worth it if one of us made an at-a-glance thing with Glance. Like I feel like there's an opportunity there to partner with Google or something. I don't know. Anyway, yes. I honestly think that'd be really compelling. I don't know, just something about the at-a-glance, just because it's just, I don't know. I would definitely do it. For some reason, that is slightly more appealing than just a regular old widget, just because it feels like a favored space. I don't know.
Yeah. It has this prominent position on the lock screen, and it feels like Google could definitely add a lot more to it than it currently does.
Yeah. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. If and when it happens, and if and when it happens, I can say, I know the guy who leaked that from the very beginning. Yeah,
I know the guy who started the rumor.
Yeah, I know the guy who started the rumor. No big deal. This is a quickie, but I was just complaining about, not complaining, but I was very recently in a position where I was like, I need to broadcast to my Google Home because my daughter's not picking up her phone, and I know that she'll hear that. And it was nothing like nothing.
No, I know. I've been in this where I've been like, nobody is responding to me.
No, nobody is responding, but I need them to know. And often my backup has been Google Home Broadcast. You say, hey, G, broadcast, and then you say the thing and it replays the thing that you record. Well, that hasn't been happening lately. Like it just hasn't been working. I think it's one of those features that Google probably announced at some point. I've lost track, that they no longer support on, Assistant on Google Homes. And now you can enable this again. You go into the Google Home app under the apps section, find Gemini in there, tap to toggle, and profit. It works now.
And profit.
I haven't actually tested it, but according to Android
Hasn't
Police,
actually been profited on.
Yeah, it's not profitable to me yet. But apparently it works, and I'm really happy to have it back for those few times that I need it. But because when I need it, and so there you go. Now you know how to profit yourself. Go profit you. Okay. How about some feedback? Contact at androidfaithful.com. That is the place where you can send us your words and we will read them. Like this one, Flo.
Oh, this one's exciting. Thank you so much for those who are reading the newsletter every week and actually interacting with the things that I'm writing about. That means a lot for me. So newsletter went out last Friday and I got this in response because I just kind of was like, who out there that is reading this actually wants to buy this phone? Well, this person wrote me. And by this phone, I mean the Z Fold. All right. So hi Flo, you asked. So I answer, smiley face. Am I getting the Z Fold 7? Yes, the 1 terabyte, 16 gig of RAM version.
Wow.
Am I a millionaire? Far from it. Here in Australia, the list price is 3,449 AUD, which is about 2,269 USD. With the Samsung double storage deal, it brings it down to 3,249 AUD, or 2,137 American dollars. I'm lucky in that I'm lucky that I work for a large company that gets us a discount for many companies like Samsung. This brings the price down to just 2,839 Australian dollars, or 1,867 American dollars. Those prices include purchase tax, GST. It's still a lot of money, but for the 1 terabyte model, it's not too outrageous. Big grin emoji. Gone for the shadow blue color. Suspect that will be a popular color choice. It's definitely true. That's the one that Mishaal and I were holding up earlier.
Beautiful.
Here in Australia, it would not arrive until August. I have a ship date of the 11th. Yours, Simon McLean. Thank you, Simon, for reading the newsletter.
Very nice. And I hope you enjoy your expensive foldable. Although you were able to get the price down. I mean,
A bit.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, still
yeah.
friggin' expensive. My goodness.
Yeah.
You have to really want it. You have to really.
You got to get it during like
a
a sale, or get a good trade-in discount, especially if you have an older Samsung flagship.
Yeah.
Totally. Samsung's good with their trade-ins. At least at the time of release, they're good. It kind of goes away and it's harder to get later. So if you know you're going to upgrade, it's good to know that right at the top so that you can get the pre-order and get whatever their discount is. They're like off the top or their freebie. And then when you do the trade-in, you get that much money taken off of your purchase. Samsung's really good with that. Cool. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Mishaal, what you got?
All right. Our next email comes in from Gary from Houston, who wrote in to say, I have noticed recently that birthdays are no longer showing up on my Google Calendar. I have not made any changes to settings, and it appears that all the appropriate settings are correct. Birthday calendar checked, etc. I miss being able to glance at my calendar to keep up with events such as this. Has a change been made that I am unaware of? I'm running Android 16, by the way, and I've done all the appropriate troubleshooting, short of reloading my OS. Love the show. Thank you, Gary in Houston. So I have not heard of anything in Android 16 that would cause this. Maybe all I can think of is if you open whatever calendar app you have, Google Calendar, make sure when you open the sidebar, like you've actually checked the specific calendar to show up. Because even if you have like a birthday calendar that's syncing to your account, maybe it's not showing up because it's unchecked in the actual calendar view. So just double check that. Or maybe just add your birthday events to your main calendar. That's what I do. I don't have a separate birthday calendar. Just add them to my main one. I don't know. Go into Google Contacts, make sure birthdays are actually saved to the contacts that you care about, and just double check. That's all I can say. That's all I can think of.
I might be experiencing this as well, actually. Because
really,
hold on, let me just double check that my sister's birthday is in there. Yeah, I am actually experiencing this as well, and I double check my calendar is checked, like it should be showing up.
Interesting.
So wait.
So it's checked and synced.
Yes. And they
Because that is
definitely
one
showed
thing that has tripped me up. Is like, why am I not seeing these things? And then I forget. I have to go into settings and actually activate to sync
Yeah.
certain calendars, and
Yeah.
or else they won't show up in the list in the main view.
Yep, I definitely have
That's
birthdays.
gotten
My
me a couple
sister's
times.
birthday is definitely in my contacts and has been for many, many years. And yeah, I don't have the calendar doesn't show any events.
Huh.
Maybe that's why I missed
Yeah, I
my
have a
aunt's
separate
birthday last.
birthday section at the bottom,
Yep,
and it syncs directly from Gmail or
Yep.
from my Google Contacts.
yep, I have all that too, and I have no birthdays. Wait, my husband's birthday also is missing.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Okay,
That's no good.
I don't. Oh, thank you, Gary.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore.
poof.
You're absolved.
I literally
Gone.
missed my aunt's birthday like 2 weeks ago. Part of it was I was I was at DroidCon New York, but also I told him, "Wow, okay, thank you, Gary. That's my excuse from now on."
Yeah, I was
gosh.
gonna say
I was like,
you better let your
sorry.
aunt know.
I like, yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Blame my phone.
That's my fine. Okay, well,
Not my fault.
okay, well, not maybe not unrelated is our final email. And also, well, so there's connections to both emails. This is something about Android 16 coming from Australia. Dear Android Faithful crew, I have a Pixel 6 Pro and have been holding back on upgrading to Android 16 because of the reported issues with performance and responsiveness. Can you please tell me if these are genuine issues or just confirmation bias from searching, quote, Android 16 problems? I was going to wait a few months in case Google fixes things, but the persistent notifications makes it feel like my phone is quietly losing its mind from being so unsecure. Thank you, and as always, love your work. Sorry, Taranga, from Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne.
I will just say straight off, my friend, that I actually am having serious issues with the gestures. I can't actually do circle to search from my front screen or swipe up or all kinds of things. And even if I restart, it quickly like goes back to not functioning. And that's only on my outer screen, not my inner screen. And that was distinctly after the upgrade. And I also was in my usual Android dev Slack, and literally today too, someone recorded some other issues. So I don't think it's just confirmation bias. But maybe that's my confirmation bias.
There's always
Yeah.
like nagging issues like this in every major OS update
Yeah.
that Google eventually gets around to fixing in like the quarterly releases. Because like
Yeah.
the thing with Android releases, especially on Pixels nowadays, is that they're quarterly releases, right? So it's not like you get one big Android 16 update and then you get nothing in between. Like every quarter, you're gonna get a big update. So whether you take Android 16 now or you wait till September for that next quarterly release, you know it's gonna get more stable as Google releases the quarterly release, the QPR1 for 16, and then QPR2, and then we're going to go flipping back around to the Android 17 release cycle. So yeah, it's a never-ending. You get buggier periods, more stable periods.
It's
I
a
don't know what
lot
to
like the
say.
roller coaster of life, if you think about
Yes.
it.
Roller coaster.
Some versions are more stable than others.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I very much sympathize, but also not to excuse it, but software is hard. And as try as we never, no one intends to write a bug.
Yeah, that's true.
But especially on like software that is this wide of distribution and has like, I mean, I can't even imagine, like the scope of Android as an operating system is insane. So I guess just sympathy and empathy to myself and other users.
I think most people are probably fine with it. Like we have a person in chat, Mike, who says his sister's Pixel 6 Pro seems fine on Android 16.
Yeah.
As does his Pixel 9 Pro XL. And I'm sure most Pixel users will tell you, they haven't had that many issues. So it really depends.
It does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taranga, from Melbourne, Australia. Someone told me a long time ago it's Melbourne, not Melbourne, and I forced myself to change it. And then I have ever since said Melbourne. And I get like,
Melbourne.
and I say that to other, Americans,
Aussies.
USAers,
American.
USAers, and they were like, "Why do you say it like that?" I'm like, because I had someone from Melbourne tell me it's Melbourne and not Melbourne, and I listened to them. So
yeah,
I get shamed for it.
like Edinburgh, Scotland is actually Edinburgh.
Oh,
It's not Edinburgh.
I
It is
know.
Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Oh, gosh.
Edinburgh.
I think I made
You're
it worse.
talking about Edinburgh, aren't you?
I'm sorry, Scottish friends. I think I made it worse. Oh dear.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
All right, that's it. We've reached the end. This has been a very long episode, but it's been a heck of a lot of fun. Let's say our goodbyes. Mishaal, what do you want to leave people with?
Just go to androidfaithful.com, check out all the awesome work that Flo and Ron have been doing, and subscribe to the newsletter.
Yes. Okay. Excellent. No Linktree / Mishaal Rahman. You don't want to.
I mean, you know, I've said it over 100 times
Okay.
now.
All right.
So you know where to find it.
You have. That's true. That's true. What about you, Win? Let me guess. Randomlytyping.com.
Yes, round time. I did want to. Sorry, I know we're running long, but we did
worry
get
about
a
it.
very. I think Michelle and I both commented on someone's Instagram post. A listener, Michael. Sorry, Dickinson. I'm so sorry. I had your profile up, Michael. And he got his Android Faithful mug and did a wonderful ASMR video.
Oh my goodness. I don't have.
Simple your device.
Making some coffee with it.
Yeah, making some coffee with it. It was very ASMR-y. It was delightful, and of course, it was our mug.
Aww.
So
I
yes,
didn't
Michael
share
Dixon.
audio
Sorry,
on this.
Michael Dixon.
So go find it. It is simply your device is the ID on Instagram if you want to hear the amazing sounds along with this video. That is so cool. Thank you for doing that. It's amazing.
It was delightful. It made my heart very, very, very full to hear it because I am a secret ASMR lover, but also
God, I love coffee. That
I know, and I
first
just
morning
want some
coffee.
I know, it's very inappropriate.
Just like that first sip in the morning, dude, you're just like,
Oh,
this is why I woke
it's
up
the
today.
best. I totally agree. Oh, I look there. There have been
Gonna be
nights.
okay.
There have been nights like I'm not gonna lie. There are some nights where I can't wait to go to bed for that moment. I'm like, I'm gonna wake up in the morning. I'm gonna have that cup of coffee. It's gonna be so good. All right. Anyways.
All right, sorry. So yes, thank you, Michael Dixon.
Amazing.
Wonderful video. Made me feel happy, and randomlytyping.com for me and my stuff. There you go.
And what about you, Flo?
I want to thank Mishaal for using his time to promote our newsletter. I really appreciate that because now I'm going to selfishly use my time to promote florenceIon.com because that's a place that you can. First of all, I just want Win to appreciate how long it took me to figure out the CSS for this. I did have to use Gemini to help me, by the way.
These are the tools you got.
It's a whole thing. Second of all, florenceIon.com is the best place to go if you want access to that newsletter, if you want access to my other podcast, which I'm on the Relay Network with Andy and Nutco. It's called Material. We also talk about Google every single week. And you'll also find links to my Discord if you want to come join. You know, and I do have a personal blog. I haven't put anything in it in a while though, because we're just not there right now. So thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. Such fun times. Good to see you, Flo. Good to see you, Mishaal. And Win. If you want to find me, just go to linktree.com/Jason Howell. I've got lots of things there. I do have a new video on my channel. It's about Perplexity Comment, which is an AI agent browser that I put to the test. And it's doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy with that. But that's all I'll leave you with because we have gone way over. Just want to real quick say one last time, thank you to our amazing patrons for allowing us to do this show each and every week / month. And, if you are a paid patron, you're going to get some after hours action, the stories that we didn't talk about, of course, and also other stories like Epic dropping its Samsung lawsuit. We've got Pixel 10 Pro Fold specs that we're going to take a look at. New Snapdragon wearable chip in the works. Lots of stuff in the after hours. And yeah, so don't miss it. Patreon.com/AndroidFaithful. AndroidFaithful.com for all things, including newsletters and articles and podcasts and goodness and pictures of us having fun in the world of Android. Next week we will be back with another wonderful episode. I'm sure Ron will be back. You know, it's a rotating crew, so we'll see you next week. However we arrive on Android Faithful. Woof, man, we went for it tonight. So, do we want the title to be Samsung-y? Last week it was Samsung-y, even though it was a pre-Samsung thing. But that doesn't mean
Title
we
that
can't
I
have it.
used for my stream on X was the Android Canary in the ChromeOS Coalmine.
Yeah.
Ooh, the
Just
Android
had to
Canary.
combine the two top news stories.
Dang.
Yeah, and it is
that's
the
pro
top news
level.
story, which would be very nice because then you have that covered when I drop the link into the newsletter. And I cover
Android
the last half of the week's
Canary
news.
in the Chrome OS Coalmine.
It just works too well.
Coalmine.
We can take a
And
look at the titles though to see what.
whole lot of titles going on. Sizzling Android news. Samsung Galaxy Unpacked retrospective. Nice straight shot there. Big bold box of nothing. Ha! Like that. Won't you be my Android neighbor? Chrome Droid dreams. Pull up to the bar. Nokia still dead. Is Nokia the sizzlers of smartphones? An episode where Ron gets dragged. Oof. It was
He's not even on.
I just love it. I get a lot. I'm sorry. I get so much.
I love that the
It makes me laugh so hard.
The camera's following you around with every turn, Flo. It's awesome. It was flipping hot at Galaxy Unpacked. That's the title. In the flipped world, unreal reality, it do be sounding off. Thanks to the DOJ, Andromeda lives. Mishaal's Samsung Unpainted Tea. The Android Canary and the Beta Coalmine. All right, cousin of Mishal was picking up what you're laying down. The 9010 solution, more like the Zip Flip or Z Flip. More like the Z Flip Fat. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Samsung Unpacked, a whole bunch of nothing. Google turns your pictures into movies. Eden Bros love Eden butter. What? Eden Bros love Eden butter. Okay. Don't understand, but that's okay. Most of the time I do. Edinburgh. Oh.
Edinburgh's.
Edinburgh's love Eden butter. Eden butter. Okay, thank you. That's what I needed. Yes, wonderful titles. I think that this week we're gonna go off the Canary and the Beta Coalmine thing, but I'm gonna do the Android Canary in the Chrome OS Coalmine. I like that. That works. Coolio. Thank you for all of your title suggestions. These were a lot of really good ones. We got quite a few, so thank you. With that being said, it is 7:10 already, and we still have to do the after hours. So we are going to wrap things up here so that we can do the after hours so that you have something extra to listen to if you're a patron later. And Flo, you will not be joining us for after hours. Is that right? Okay.
Good night.
And sleep.
Okay. Well, Flo, thank you for being with us, and thank you everybody for watching and
hang
listening.
out with you guys for a little bit. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna end the stream now. Y'all are awesome. We'll see you
Okay.
next time. Bye.
Okay, bye.